Welcome to another edition of Practice Help. This is Geometry with Mr. H, and today we're going over lesson 1.10, the practice problems, rigid transformations. All right, here we go. Excuse me. All right, so task 16 says, here are 4 triangles that have each been transformed by a different transformation. Now remember, we're focused here on rigid transformations, right? Rigid is the opposite of flexible, so that means that the shapes are not allowed to change shape or size. All right, so here are the 4 triangles that have each been transformed by a different transformation. Which transformation is not a rigid transformation? Select all that apply. And notice that we have, it goes from A to A prime, B to B prime, etc., right? The one with the prime, obviously, is the image, or what happens after the transformation. So you just have to figure out which one doesn't, which ones do not follow the rules for rigid transformations. Pause the video and answer the question. All right, what is the definition of congruence? If 2 figures have the same shape, then they're congruent. If 2 figures have the same area, then they're congruent. If there's a sequence of transformations taking one figure to another, then they are congruent. And then the last one says, if there's a sequence of rotations, reflections, and translations that take one figure to the other, then they are congruent. Well, one thing I would remind you is that there are different kinds of transformations out there. We are focused on the rigid ones because they don't change the size and they don't change the shape. Okay, and we've talked about which ones they are in class, right? There's only 3 of them. All right, so take a look at this question. Congruence, excuse me, right? Congruence, how do we define that? How can we test it? Pause the video. Answer the question. All right, task 18. Task 18, there's a sequence of rigid transformation that takes A to A prime, B to B prime, C to C prime, right? A ends up at A prime, B ends up at B prime, and C ends up at C prime. The question is, where the heck does D prime land, right? So here's where D starts. Where does D prime end up on this part of the diagram, right? It's got to end up somewhere on this green triangle. All you have to do is use the pencil here and just make a dot where you think approximately where D would be. All right, pause the video. We'll see. All right, so that's our given information. The school district wants to locate its new stadium at a location that will be roughly the same distance from all 3 schools. Where should they build the stadium? Explain or show your reasoning. Okay, so we kind of did this before. Remember, we had that whole lesson in 1.9 about pizza shops and, how to find a place where it's the same distance from all the pizza shops, right? And how did we do that? If you need to, you can go back and look at lesson 10. But we did it, right? And the same method goes here. Okay, same method. Use 19 as your workspace. If you accomplish it up here successfully, you don't have to write anything down here. But if you choose to explain your answer instead of actually doing it up here, that's another option. All right. Task 21. To construct a line passing through point C, there's point C, that's parallel to line AB. All right, so parallel, remember parallel, that means that 2 things don't intersect, right? Just like all the L's in parallel, they're all going the same direction, okay? We want something parallel to line AB. Well, here's line AB, okay? Han constructed the perpendicular bisector of AB, right? Perpendicular bisector, right? Perpendicular means line cuts that in half, and he Han use these two circles to generate those 2 points that he could use to make this line, right? And then he draws a line CD across this way that goes through C and D. Now the question is CD guaranteed to be parallel to AB? Explain how you know. And I think there's a hint here in the fact that this is point A, this is point B, that's point C, and that's point D, in terms of the order that they were created. All right. Here we go, task 22. This diagram is a straight edge and compass construction of a line perpendicular to line AB. So here's line AB. This is, all right. Select all the statements that must be true, right? Based on this information, right? A is going to be the center of this circle, D is going to be the center of this circle, and C is going to be the center of this circle. And we've already been told that this line going through here, EC, is perpendicular to line AB. All right. Check out which of these must be true and answer the question, right? Go through each one, see if each one is true. If it's true, check it. If not, leave it unchecked. That's it.